Hi, my name is Ryan, and I will be talking about improving mobility in children with cerebral palsy using a structured strength training and neuromuscular therapy approach. So, the importance of movement. Imagine being a child who can't run, can't jump, or play with your friends. For kids with cerebral palsy, or CP as I will be referring to it in this PowerPoint, this is their reality. Cerebral palsy is the most common motor disorder in children, affecting about 2 to 3 out of every 1,000 live births. It causes a long-term challenges with posture and movement, which really impacts the independence of these children and throughout their life. CP happens when there is damage to the brain that controls movement. This ends up leading to problems with muscle coordination, tightness or spasticity, and overall weakness. So things like sitting up, walking, or even self-care tasks can be very hard. A lot of kids with CP struggle with these basic day-to-day movements. So how does strength training help? Strength training can definitely help build up muscle power, but here's the thing. Just because a child is getting stronger doesn't mean that their everyday function will improve. Research shows that strength training alone doesn't lead to big challenges in how kids with CP perform daily activities. So why is this change needed? Traditional therapy like stretching and basic motor practice is helpful, but sometimes it's just not enough. A lot of kids still deal with major movement limitations even after regular therapy, so there's a real need for better, more complete programs that go beyond the basics. So that's where combining strength training and neuromuscular therapy comes in. Neuromuscular therapy works on things like coordination, timing, and control. When you put the two together, you may be able to turn muscle gains into real-world improvements. Research on this combo is kind of limited, but it does look very promising. So what's being used now? Right now, most kids either get traditional physical therapy, which is strength training, or neuromuscular therapy. Each one helps different ways, but the results aren't always consistent when they're used by themselves. That's another reason why combining them could be a game changer. So my proposed program combines progressive strength training with neuromuscular re-education. The goal is to target both the muscles and the nervous system so kids not only get stronger, but they can also move better and feel more independent in their daily lives. So what's this study going to test? Here's the research question. Will kids who do this combined program show better improvements in mobility and function compared to those who just get traditional therapy? That's the main thing this study is aiming to test out. So the study would use a RCT design. One group of kids would do traditional therapy while the other does combined program. We would look at changes over 8 weeks, checking on how each child is doing before and after. So who's going to be in the study? We would work with kids age 6 to 12 who has spastic CP and can walk with or without help. So we would have a little combo of both. Kids would be excluded if they recently have surgery or have any medical conditions that make it unsafe to participate. So this program includes strength training and 3 times a week using resistance bands and light weights. The neuromuscular therapy includes exercises like balance tasks and coordination drills. Sessions would last about an hour, and everything is adjusted based on each child's ability. So, to see if this program works, we'll use tools like the gross motor function measure and the pediatric evaluation of disability inventory. These tools help us to track improvements in their strength, in their movement, and even overall daily function. So, how will these results end up being evaluated? We'll use repeated measures, ANOVA, to look at changes over time and compare groups. We will also look at effect sizes and how confidence intervals to understand how strong and reliable the tests are and how the results are. So, past research does show strength and neuromuscular training work well separately. I believe that combining them will help kids to improve more, especially in how they move and especially in their daily tasks, which will be huge for them. So, often, traditional PT misses the mark on things like intensity and individual goals. Without progressive overload, strength doesn't build effectively. Plus, it also doesn't transfer well to everyday life in every case. So, strength training boosts muscle force and endurance, especially in the legs. It also helps with doing tasks faster. This is especially helpful for kids who are already walking and need some extra support. Neuromuscular therapy focuses on timing, rhythm, and posture. It helps kids move more smoothly and effectively. This makes strength gains actually usable in daily life for kids with cerebral palsy. So, what do we hope to see? We expect to see better walking, improved balance, and much more independence in everyday tasks like getting dressed and even playing. The big goal is to give kids more freedom and confidence in the long run. So, obviously, there's some stuff that'll get in the way. There are always challenges. Some families might have trouble accessing trained providers or fitting therapy into their schedule, but there are always ways to adapt, like home-based programs and even caregiver training. So the ideal candidates for this study would be kids between 6 and 12, especially those in GMFCS levels 2 and 3. They're likely to benefit the most. These kids can often walk but need more support to improve how well they're actually moving. This program can be used in outpatient clinics, schools, or even at home. Therapists can customize it based on each specific child and their needs, and it can be scaled depending on what resources are available to that child as well. So what would come next? Future research could look at long-term results and how they could adapt the program for more severe cases. We could also compare how it works across some other age groups outside of that 6 to 12 range. Families who have tried similar programs say they have seen huge changes. Their kids are feeling more confident. The parents are noticing improvements in movement, balance, and independence. And especially for kids with cerebral palsy, that is a huge, huge gift. So therapists like programs that are backed by evidence and easy to follow. They support using a team approach to get the best results, and they're opening to more training and help to deliver these kinds of interventions. So if studies show strong results, this type of program could shape future therapy guidelines. It could also even influence insurance coverage and school-based therapy models, so bringing that into this school as well. So to wrap up a little bit, cerebral palsy is a very complex disease and it needs a very well-rounded approach. A program that builds strength and improves coordination will be huge, and it can help close the gap between therapy and real life function. So this work matters because it's helping kids gain more control over their bodies and over their futures. It might even allow some children to have a future that they were never expecting. Every child deserves the chance to move and to grow independently. So my final thoughts. The bottom line is a structured strength and neuromuscular program can help kids with cerebral palsy not just get stronger, but live fuller and much more independent lives. Therapy should be about empowerment, not just the treatment aspect of it.